Okay, so we're here on Wednesday doing an update for the JDP Internship. We had a talk from Chris yesterday, which was great to get some insights on our project that we're working on at the moment, the JDP Beerbot app. I'm sure that'll be posted up as another video that you can check out if you're interested. So he ran through some ideas about what he thinks about Ionic, the framework we're using, the best way to deploy it and test it, and a bunch of other things which were very useful. Today we're just doing a bit of an update on what stage we're at with the project. So I've been working on two files in the Ionic project called the controller.js file and the app.js file, which are the two main files that control your states or views in Ionic, so the pages that you're looking at. And the controller controls the JavaScript functions for those pages. So each page has its own controller with its own area for its JavaScript functions. So I'm just Barry's done some work on the landing page, which was HTML, and I'm just going to run through now with him and show him what he needs to do to add a new page. So you there, Barry?
Yep.
Okay, so can you see in the www folder under JS for JavaScript?
Yeah, hang on, it's opening up. It's been a bit slow.
Cool.
So now, while we're waiting for it to open, you want to just give a bit of a rundown of what you want me to do?
Yeah, so basically in the www folder, there's where you keep your CSS, your HTML pages, your JavaScript, your libraries. There's a folder called JS that contains the JavaScript, which has two files, one called app.js. So the first file you head over to is the app.js file, and in there we've already set up a bunch of states. So the states are chained together in a big long configuration, and each state gives the name of the state, the location or the URL of the state, the template URL, which is the HTML file, and the controller, which is located in controllers.js. So if you want to add a new page, the first thing you have to do is add a view or a state for it. So you can copy one of the existing states and paste it in a location that you want to put the state in the chain that already exists, and then just modify the state name, the URL, the template URL, and the controller name to names that are relevant to pages that you'll be using. And so, for example, if you are going to do a new state for the order page, you might call it order, state order, and you might give it a template URL of templates/order.html. So then you would have to create an order.html page so that it could link to that page. And you might call the controller order.ctrl. And then, so after you've done that, you set that up, then you pop over to the controllers.js file, and here you'll find a bunch of controllers in similar setup to the states that are chained together, but instead of states they're called controllers. And you can just chain a new controller in there with the name that you've registered in the state. So if it was order CTRL, you'd call the controller order CTRL. And you'll see the way that the controllers are set up, that you can pass in various variables to the controller function to make use of in the controller. For example, scope, $scope. If you pass $scope in, then on your HTML page, if you want to call a function, it uses $scope as it's within scope for that HTML page. So if you have a on-click function in your HTML page by name, and then in the controller register that on-click function as a $scope.function, that will be linked. That function will be linked to the HTML page where you're calling it from. So you'll see what I mean when you go in there. I've got a bunch already set up, and you can just copy the format of what's already there to create your own.
I've got it now. What line?
Okay, so we'll look at the login one. So that's about line 66.
.state.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that's part of the state chain. See how there's two states, one after the other, .state, .state.
Yeah.
And
One.
the settings for the state are in the brackets. So the first name, the name is the first variable, which is login.
Yep.
Then URL is /login.
Yep.
Templates, there's a templates in the templates folder called login.html, which links to the template URL. And then the controller is called login.ctrl. And if you go across to controllers.js and go to line 15, you'll see the login controller.
.controller login CTRL.
See how it's called the same name? That's
Yep.
linked in the state. So basically what it's saying is when that state is on your template URL that you're on, it links this named controller to that state so that it can access functions.
Right.
So see how the first function I've got there is $scope.navigate to register temp.
Yep.
If I was to, on the HTML page, have an ng-click property on one of my elements, I could call navigate to register temp, open bracket, close bracket, and that's a function. You know, like an on-click function?
Yeah.
Yep. So if you call that function from your ng-click variable, it'll know to look in the scope for this controller on this page, and it'll see that function called navigate to register temp, and it'll launch, and whatever you type in the function is JavaScript that will happen when that gets launched.
Okay.
So say if you wanted to have a button, this one navigates to another page. So instead of using an href navigation, we use navigate by states. So see where it says state.go.
Yep.
That's telling it to navigate to the register state, which will change pages in the app.
Okay. And so you want me to?
So I want you to set up a page for ordering. So when you launch, you'll notice I've changed around the view a little bit for the landing menu, but you'll see a button which is a beer icon if someone wants to order a drink. So you'll have to make that beer button have a ng-click, which takes it to the new page that you're going to create. So you'll have to add a state for the new page in app.js. You'll have to add an empty controller in controller.js, and you'll have to make that order a drink button on the landing page navigate to that new state when you click on it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does. Yep.
All right, cool. So I won't be too worried if you're working on something and the app stops working. I'll just continue on something else. But if you have any problems, I'm here all day, so just let me know and I can help out. Yeah, I thought yesterday was very good. It answered a lot of questions that I've been wanting to ask for a few weeks now about what we need to do to proceed a little bit, and maybe what we should have done before we started. But I guess we're on the way a little bit now, so we'll continue on with what we're doing and use Ionic. And I think it's important that we deploy as soon as possible, at least a test deploy, so we can test it on a phone and see how it's going to work. I think that's one of the main points Chris was making about all the deployment information he gave us. I think it's important that we get a deployment that we can test on a real phone happening soon.
Yeah, I heard that bit.
Yeah. What are you thinking of the project so far?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's going to be interesting to see what this app functions like when it's built using Ionic.
Yeah, I agree.
Compared to a native app.
Yeah.
It seemed to me that that was Chris's main concern yesterday, was that the first thing he said was it feels like an Ionic app. It doesn't feel like an app. It's when you use it, the speed of it, etc.
Sure.
So just trying to, what's the word? Just trying to encapsulate what that actually means in reality. Is it glitchy when you use it? Is it slow? Does it look funny? Or I can't really visualize what he's actually exactly referring to.
It also
but it'll be
might,
interesting
it
to
also
see
might
what
depend
happens.
on what's in the app, because I've been testing it on an emulator and it seems to run okay. But I think you're right. We'd have to test it on a real phone as soon as possible and get a feel for what it's going to be like to operate.
Yeah, because a few of the things I've read are saying that these things like Ionic, the speed difference between them and native apps is getting smaller and smaller to the point now that it's almost sort of negligible. So
yeah, on my emulator, which granted runs on a computer, not on a phone, there's no speed, there's no lag. It's as fast as you'd expect it to be. It behaves exactly as you would expect. But phones don't have as fast processors as computers, so that might be an issue for a phone versus running on an emulator on the computer.
yeah. All right, cool.
No worries.
So what's your plans over the next, today and the next few days? Are you going to be doing much work on it, or just today,
Yeah,
or what?
I think so. Every time I do something else seems to crop up that needs to be done. So, and I've been basically code jamming 10 hours a day for the last 12 days straight.
Wow, that's intense. Now that's good. Yeah. Oh well, I'll have a good go at it over the next few days as well. And just any issues I've got, I'll just slack you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll be available. Yep.
Yep. All right, man. Good to talk.
All right, Barry. Thanks.
See you later.
See ya.